So we're really pleased to be here today. What we wanted to do was to take the opportunity with the dmexco audience, which is a really great group, to not just talk about kind of social media monitoring and listening and analytics basics, but to play around with some new ideas, to look at what is interesting and emerging. And so Suzanne will be talking about social selling, which we think is a really interesting emerging area. And I will be taking a quick look at the world of command centers. And both of these relate to social media monitoring, but they're, as I said, a bit more kind of futuristic. My name is Will McInnes. I'm the CMO for a company called Brandwatch. I am at Will McInnes on Twitter, if you are a Twitterer. And this is...
Hi, I'm Susanne Ulrich. I'm Ulrich Susanne on Twitter, and I'm responsible for the marketing for Brandwatch for the DACH region.
Cool. So the plan is, as I said, we're going to take a look at the real-time world. So we're just going to try and put ourselves in the environment that we are now in. Think about what's changing. Think about social media behavior and culture and how that's affecting the world, and then look at these themes of social selling and command centers. Please do tweet if you want to. There's a Twitter account for Brandwatch DE and Brandwatch Tips. And in particular, we have a booth. We'd love to see you over there. Please join us. We have Diet Coke and stickers to offer you. And a little bit more about Brandwatch. So we're in Stuttgart and in Berlin. We have a whole development team out here in Germany, as well as some fabulous sales, client management people, and marketers. So that's enough about Brandwatch. Let's talk about the world. So I think we are living in extremely exciting times. Can you imagine just how we would sum up the world today if we were explaining it to our grandparents, to our great-grandparents? Think about how technology and how society are evolving. And I think we're going to look at some of the exact examples of how this world is becoming more real-time. This is the list of the 6 things that we think are kind of a result of this real-time world that we're now operating in. And hopefully they will bring it to life for you. Firstly, it's worth reminding ourselves that we are now operating at a huge scale. So if you can't read the writings, there's scale. It's about the kind of enormous connections between human beings today. So we have something like 500 million tweets per day. We have 1 billion active users of Facebook, and that's kind of like, you know, a bit boring if you're thinking about people in airports or people like us. But when you think about the developing world, when you think about people who are now getting access to information that helps them know whether to go to market that day with their brain, whether it helps them educate themselves, it's fascinating, the scale of this human connection. Secondly, we're now operating at this crazy speed. This is some data from Jawbone. How many of you here have like a Fitbit or Jawbone or do some sort of steps tracking, activity tracking? So Jawbone make the Jawbone Up wristband, and this is their data from the recent earthquake in Northern California. And so you can see in real time how that earthquake woke people up in the middle of the night, because suddenly all these wrists were getting jiggled around in Northern California as the ground began to rumble. So, and you can see a huge spike when lots and lots of people woke up very quickly. The point is, with all of this connectivity and with all of this data, things are happening very, very rapidly, and new information is shared very rapidly. I love this tweet. If you can't read it at the back, it says, Amazon order placed 1858. Amazon order delivered 0806. At this rate, it won't be long until the delivery happens just before the order. And it feels like the timeline of everything is being compressed. So we're, as digital marketers and as human beings, we're trying to make sense of a world where where the time to think is getting less, and it's happening now. That creates opportunity. So in this real-time world, it creates positive opportunity and negative opportunity. A positive opportunity would be something like the Oreo tweets when in the Super Bowl the lights went out. They moved very quickly. They had, a designer ready, they had the CMO ready with the brand to sign off the brand aspect, the copywriter ready, and they just, a really simple tweet, and they kind of won the Super Bowl just by being fast. And they didn't need a $100 million ad budget. They probably had that as well, but they didn't need it. And then, I'm not sure if this story, you will remember it, but a PR executive for AOL was about to get on a plane to Africa, made an absolutely disgusting joke, got on the plane, and by the time she landed, had been fired, and her tweets had been shared around the world, including a campaign called #Has Justine Landed Yet? She was on a plane. The world was spinning, and when the plane landed, game over. I personally find the physical nature of this real-time world really exciting and engaging. It's my youngest boy's birthday today, and minutes before Suzanne and I came on stage, we did a FaceTime, and that, even FaceTime is a little bit futuristic. It still freaks me out a bit. But have you seen this video? Yeah, some nods. Please find it if you haven't seen it. This gorgeous little girl is interacting with a magazine. She's not reading the magazine, she's pinching and swiping because her experience is of an interactive physical world. And some of you, the smart kind of digital geeky people here, will know that Facebook bought Oculus, which is a kind of virtual reality headset technology, and you of course all saw the Apple Watch. So we're heading towards a world where this data, where this information isn't just on screens anymore. It's wearable, it's physical, it's with us. And that brings challenges and opportunities too. Nearly there on this list. The other thing that's happening is social in a real-time world, and the power of the internet is spreading way beyond just one department. And we're seeing this with our clients, including a client that is in the room today, where the reach of social is going way beyond just one department. Actually, the opportunities are in other areas, and Suzanne talks about this a bit later. And my final point is just about how powerful data is in the real-time world. I live in New York. I moved there recently, so I have no knowledge of the place. And as a complete idiot walking around New York, it's quite easy for me to find a very good restaurant. I will not go in a restaurant that has less than 3.5 to 4 stars on Yelp. And the data, the small pieces of data from lots of different people, help me eat great food. Thank you, social data. But this isn't just restaurants anymore. If you see what Zing and LinkedIn are doing with endorsements, where I can say, Suzanne, I know you're great at marketing, I'm going to endorse you for marketing. Soon, when we go for a new job, what other people say about us will be more influential than what we say about us. And I think this world, this powerful data, is going to affect teaching, dentists, it's going to affect all kinds of areas of life. Politicians, people who speak at events, will all be rated and reviewed. So those are just some kind of 6 key factors of the real-time world before we move into some social selling content and then the command center content.
Okay, so thanks, Will. I'm going to talk about social selling now, so I basically tell you how to make money with the internet. Okay, so first of all, what is social selling? Per definition, social selling means like to identify people on the social web that might have an interest to purchase. You get in contact with them, you make relationships, and then with the goal, of course, to sell something. There are different definitions in articles and everywhere. So there is social selling and there is social business. The difference to social business is like social business is across the whole company. Social selling is just one part of it. And social business means like that the company is completely social. It's internally because they use social software, they are really social themselves, like Yammer, where people talk online with each other. And they are also social externally because they have Twitter accounts, they have Facebook, etc. And so social business is like for the whole company, and social selling is like one part of it, but a very important part of it. And this chart shows where social selling sits within the whole company. So before social media, we had only the company and the clients. Now we have this huge opportunity because we have the social hub. We can listen in real time to what people say on the internet. We can visualize it with command centers, what Will's going to talk about later, and we can also engage with the people. So everything can happen in real time, and this is a huge opportunity that we as companies have nowadays. And what's really important about it is that the whole company is social. So what happened to me, I really like the Twitter and the Facebook accounts of Deutsche Bahn. I think they're doing great customer service. But I had one negative point when I came here to Cologne, to Mexico. I was sitting on the train, it was freezing. They had their aircon on, and I tweeted them because there was no train guard around for the last half hour. And I tweeted, hey, can you please turn the aircon off? And the tweet that I got back was, yeah, sorry, we can't do this. Please speak to your train guard. And then I told them, okay, this is why I'm tweeting you, because there is no train guard around. And so from a company that is so good in their own social selling, I would expect that they would do this and really live socially across the whole business. Maybe they will next year, let's see. Okay, so social selling, the process itself of social selling is really simple. So first of all, you find the prospects on the internet with monitoring tools or with other searches. Every second there are new conversations on the internet. It's like per minute 72 hours of video uploads on YouTube happen. So this just shows the dimension of how many data or how much data is produced each second. And if you as a company use this data for your own benefits, you can get a lot of those gold buckets that are available right now for us. This chart is really interesting because it shows how much the importance of the internet has grown in the last 10 years. So here in 2004, only a third of all people did research on the internet. Now, in 2014, internet has become bigger than all the other channels where research can be done. It's 64% of everyone is doing research on the internet. And I think this is a really interesting chart because it shows us the importance. But can you actually make money out of the internet? These figures say yes. So this is from a study that was recently released. It says that 41 of all B2B companies on Facebook report generating more leads. Companies that use Twitter get 2 times the amount of the leads per month. Companies who have an active blog get 67 more leads per month. And 55% of all B2B companies search for information on social media. So those are also your clients. They really search for content, and you have to be there, otherwise you miss the party, as Eric said. And 61 of all US marketers, like Will, use social media to increase lead generation. And now some examples for social selling. I've divided them in B2C and B2B examples. So this one is from B2B, it's for a mobile provider. With a social media monitoring tool, you can search very specifically for important and relevant information on the web. This is from one of our search queries where you actually, as a company, look for people who are now looking for a new mobile provider. So we've been looking for words like, I'm looking for a new mobile provider, I want to change my provider, and this is the real interest of purchase that we have right now from people that are talking about this online. And to get results like this, there are many different mentions on the web. If you just start this search query, you find 1,000 per month that are looking for new mobile providers, and these are your prospects that you can go to and that you can get in contact with, and maybe they will be your future clients. And you can also group those conversations with tools when you do the analysis, right? So for example, this guy is claiming that the wireless speed is not good enough of his current provider. This guy is complaining that the customer service of his provider is really bad. And this girl, she just said, yeah, I switched, but I'm not happy after the switch of my new provider. So you can basically, you have very specific information of what people complain about your competitors at, and you can use this information to specify yourself, to become very, very personal, and you can tell them, okay, I've seen you have this problem with your provider, we are much better because, and then you already have the angle to talk to them and have the benefit of it. This example, who of you have heard of Chachimomas? None, okay. I had to Google it myself. It's this fancy kind of trousers that Justin Bieber wears, so all the teenage boys and girls love it. And when we did the research for H&M, Chachimomas came up in the topic cloud a lot of times, along with Justin Bieber. And when you dive deeper into the results, you actually see that the clients of H&M, they are screaming for the products. So they say, please sell Chachimomas. They even say, okay, if you would sell Chachimomas, you would earn so much money. They even tell you as a company that they would definitely buy it. And those conversations are really, really important when it comes to social selling, because they really have interest to purchase. They are your clients, and if you give them the right products, then you already know that it will be a success. It just shows 5 mentions, but I think there were like thousands of mentions with the same message. And now when we come to B2C, the networks are really, really strong. So Will mentioned Xing and LinkedIn earlier. This is just Xing. I have 750 contacts on Xing, which is not a huge number. But if you go back to the contacts of the first and the second grade, you come to 2.5 million people that you can actually get in contact with easily. And I think this really shows the power of big networks that you have when it comes to social selling. Same with LinkedIn. But what I find really annoying is that I get almost daily messages on Xing from people trying to sell me something that is not even tailored to me. And I think if they would at least adjust their emails or send me something that I might be interested in, it would be much more interesting for me as a marketing person, and I might get back to them. And I think this should really happen on the social web. With all the information we have available now about people, companies are actually, they know what others are searching for because they are talking on the social web, and they can really tailor the emails that they are writing. And this, I really like this quote. This is from LinkedIn. They just released a new feature where you can do social selling on LinkedIn. And I'm going to read it for you in case you can't read it over there. So it's from the product manager, and he says, buyers are essentially saying, I want you to find me if I'm the right person. I want you to be informed about me. I want you to get in through warm introduction. So that's all what matters now, because we all have all this information, and we should use it to really say, okay, I know you're searching for this, can I help you? And what we also found, this is a chart from the B2B report that we released earlier this year. We did a research on 150 B2B companies in Germany and looked how they are talked about in the social web. And the report actually showed that most of the B2B companies don't use the full potential of social media yet. So just 8% of all companies really take place, or the brands are mentioned in all the social buzz mentions that are around their topic. So if you look at the first one, for example, this is about the agricultural industry. So you have a lot of mentions about the agricultural industry, but where actually brands are mentioned, it's less than 10%. So there is still a huge potential for brands to be mentioned in those conversations and to get involved in the conversations. And this is what we are doing. Of course, we are also monitoring what people are saying about social media, monitoring if they want to find a new tool. And there was one guy who said, okay, on Twitter, does someone know a new social media monitoring tool? I'm looking for one. And then we responded, or actually Jimmy responded, he's sitting over there, and said, recommend BrandWatch, but also here is a list from Goldberg Interactive. They test tool monitoring software each year, and so he also provided value to them because he said BrandWatch might not be for everyone. So if you want to have a list of all tools and see how they are rated, look at this link and you get all the information you need. And then this guy replied very quickly and said, yeah, thanks, we're gonna test it. And there was also one guy from the community who joined in and said, yeah, we're also using BrandWatch and we're really happy with it. So this can happen when you have a really strong network, not only on Twitter, but also on Facebook, if you join forum, comments, etc. And now just some do's and don'ts of social selling before I hand over to Will again. First of all, a quick recap to remember that social selling is all about relationships. It's not like the Hoover man who's ringing at your doorbell trying to sell you something. It's more like the Tupper party where you know the people where you're going. I haven't been on one yet, to be honest, but it's really like you want to know the people. Yeah? It's about building relationship, making even friendship or anything, and then you buy. So you have to build a community. You have to look for the people who might be interested in your brand or might be interested in your topic. Find the influencers amongst them, and they are the ones who will stand behind you if a shitstorm happens, or if you have any questions, ask your community, and I'm sure they will be very happy to give you feedback. Then listen and add value. So this dog doesn't like vegetables, and it's the same on the social web. Some people just don't want to buy everything, or they just don't need anything, or there might be reasons why they don't want your product, like maybe the price or some features that are missing. So don't try to offer the same package to everyone. Really try to tailor your needs and listen to them before you contact them. And the last thing is don't rush. So as I mentioned, it's all about relationships. It's very important that you are patient, that you don't say, okay, hi, nice to meet you on Twitter, please buy my product, here's the price list, and then think it's gonna happen. Take the time that it needs to build up a real relationship and a real network. And just a summary and some quick takeaways from what I just mentioned. So first of all, you have to prepare your whole company for social business, make it ready, because when you have social business, then social selling can take place and is very efficient. Secondly, find the conversations on the social web that matter. Then build a community, and then you can react to the right and talk at the right time to the right people in the right network. And then what you can do is just lean back and measure the success, for example with command centers, which is where I'm gonna hand over to Will.
Suzanne has taken us through these ideas about social selling, both from a B2C and a B2B point of view. And now I just want to touch on command centers. Command centers, so I'm British, I'm now living in America. American brands in particular are very keen on having a social media command center. So we're just going to have a look at why and what that really means and what good it might do you. So this is one of the first social media command centers that got people excited. This is Dell. You can see that there are some display screens, and these are showing social media data. So visuals and graphs about conversations about Dell's business. You can also see that there's some very nice lighting, and you can see that there's some very prominent writing saying, this is our social media command center, which is a theme we'll come back to. Dell is actually a BrandWatch customer. Look at that. This command center is a digital command center for the American Red Cross. It's got President Obama. Pretty cool VIP guest in the house. What can we see here? More screens, more social media data, some people looking serious, like they're doing hard work. This is a command center with our Vizio product. This is Jaguar, when they launched the new car at the Super Bowl this year in America. So in the room are different people from Jaguar's different agencies. You've got the CMO, I think maybe even the CEO, and then these guys were responding as their competitors and their own adverts went out. So most of you won't have watched the Super Bowl, but if you did anyone watch the Super Bowl? Yes. Ooh, a handful of people. So I don't know if you remember, there was a Maserati launched a car and had an ad campaign that no one had expected. So for Jaguar, they were able to respond really quickly. So remember the Oreo tweet and the has just been landed? They were ready to go. And what they did was they did a funny tweet from Jaguar, basically insulting the Maserati car, but not in a really arrogant way. And people liked it, and it got lots of retweets. So what they're able to do, if we forget about the Super Bowl and cars, is it's about having a group of people seeing the same picture in real time and then making business decisions about what to do in real time. So cutting down a lot of the decision-making time, moving into results very quickly. I really like this command center. So this was another command center at the Super Bowl. iPad, 2 MacBooks, and a bottle of beer. That is my kind of command center. Fantastic. So the point is, you don't necessarily need a room. You don't necessarily need a title. You don't even need moody lighting. You just need the information coming in from social media that helps you make the decisions you want, if you're just one man on his own, or woman. So a quick checklist for command center so far. So you need lots of screens, get more points for having more screens. You need people who look quite serious, no smiling, definitely no smiling. Moody lighting, some good up lights, maybe blue. Blue's quite a good business colour. So people like that. Red would be dangerous. People would think bad things are happening. So we're going to do a quick command center quiz. If you're willing to play the game, we'll see how it goes. Which command center is this? Shout out. I'm going to pretend that I heard someone shout Star Trek. Yes, well done. Which command center is this? Minority Report, I really did hear someone. Oh, it's you, Julius. Thank you, Julius. Who works in the same team with me. Right, last one. I think this one? NASA! Yeah! A real answer from a real person, and it's the correct answer. So the point is, although we are slightly skeptical about some social media command centers, there is clearly a use case. There is clearly real utility in having lots of people in the same place at the same time to make decisions quickly with access to the same information. There is a business use case there. So bonus points for is our brand prominently displayed. If any of you make a command center, please have very good sign writing. You can have beer if that's allowed, and if you're in an underground bunker, you get an extra 100 points as well. So think about that. So what I want to do is just finish with a real case study from one of our clients, which is a big US retail bank. Just to give you some information if you're interested in making a real command center. Oh, I pushed the button that makes the screen go away. Oh, hey! Right, next one. So the blue bubbles, I'll read them out because it's probably quite small if you're at the back, are the different topic areas that the bank is interested in. So they are retirement, educational loans, because you have to pay for your education in America, home mortgages, auto loans, credit card, and financial advice. So those are the topic areas that they're looking for in their command center. Then the red blobs are the teams in the command center who want this information. So PR, customer care, and internet security. Being a bank, they take security very, very seriously, and they use social data to see in real time if there is some hacking, like anonymous denial of service attacks or threats against their people and their buildings. So different people want information, and social data comes into this team, into this command center, and then gets spread out according to who needs what. They have 3 main elements to their command center, and this is worth paying attention to. They have an engagement and publishing platform. So, the ability to write, to tweet, to publish content to their website. So that's the kind of engagement and publishing block. So some of you might use Hootsuite or Spreadfast, which are brand partners. You might use other platforms. Then the listening and analytics, which is the social media monitoring level. And then the visualization, which is taking that information, but not displaying all of it. Because if any of you here work with digital metrics and data, you know that there's a lot. And actually what you really need to the science and art is in choosing what to show and how. So you don't want to show everything in your command center because it wouldn't really be a command center, it would be an overwhelming center. So those are the three main aspects. And then I just want to show you some of the kind of detail that we've experienced that people can often forget about that's important. So the physical space, you need to think about where are we going to locate this? Like who's actually going to design and make the space? Do we need furniture? Do we need insurance? So these are some of the kind of practical considerations that when people start talking to us, sometimes they haven't thought about. Secondly, you need hardware. So you need PCs, monitors, tablets, kiosks. You need to think about the actual hardware that goes along with your command center. Thirdly, you need the social media analytics part. So you need data, analytics, visualization, and engagement, which we've already talked about. And then the last thing, and this is one of the kind of really important areas that our clients and we have also learned is a really important piece of the jigsaw, which is getting it set up. So implementation, reporting, training, so that you can get, for example, in the US bank, lots of their customer care agents see this information, and training them about what it means and why it's important is really pressing. So what has this actually done for them? A couple of things. One of the things that happens is that using the command center, they normally find out if there's a problem with their ATM network through social data before people inside the bank actually realise. Because, as consumers, we try and get money out, it doesn't work, and we tweet that we're a bit annoyed or that there's something gone wrong. And so this is providing them a much faster loop. Secondly, this particular bank was launching a new advertising campaign. They launched their adverts, and actually the response was quite bad to a particular character in the advert. And so their marketing team were able to then use a different ad at the next advertising break. So they're able to make just faster decisions around their marketing and much smarter decisions that give them bigger impact more quickly. And so the key takeaways here, this is British fish and chips, so I thought we'd finish with some takeaways, is one of the things is get a C-suite sponsor, so someone senior in the organisation who's really invested in the command centre. Being really clear about what the role of your command centre is. Is it for always on? So is it for customer contact agents? Is it for like day-to-day? Or is it for one-off issues like a special campaign or a terrible crisis? And making that decision can have quite an important influence on things. You also need to think, is our command centre physical or virtual? So is it more like the one with the beer bottle where it's pop-up and it's mobile and tablet-driven, and you might do it in your agency one day, you might do it in your head office another day, you might take it to a sports venue, or is it in one place at all times? Are you organisationally ready? Have you thought about the people and the processes? And do you have the technologies that you need? And lastly, like, how do you phase this? How do you get people in the organisation to really buy in and understand what you're trying to achieve? So those are some of the key takeaways. So I think that brings us to the end of our presentation. Okay, cool. Well, we are at the booth over there. We are meeting people and chatting all day. If you come over to the stand, you can have a month's free trial of Brandwatch, if that would be useful. And I think we're running some sort of competition and you can win 3 months free trial. So at the worst, you could walk away with 1 to 3 months worth of Brandwatch. Anyway, thank you very much. And there are lots of Brandwatches here. Please say hello. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.